Hey, hi all. So here I have a new question. So here the question is, we have this department table, and in this table we have two columns. This is department ID and this is department name. Very simple data. And we have three different department IDs, and this is the department name. Okay. And so this is the input table, and this is the output which we want. So we have to derive how many distinct or how many unique departments are there. Okay. So in this case, so we have to find how many unique departments are there. And I suppose we can make this a little bit more interesting. Like suppose if I have this ID 5 and this is also tech. Okay. Oh, let me keep this one only. And this is tech. Okay. So now if the question is how many unique departments are there. So for that, let me show you. It means just record again. Okay, just a minute. Let me show you this data. Now this is the value in this table. Now if to find the departments, I can write count of department name from this table. Okay. Now the output is 3. Why the output is 3? Because in count function, if you're using a column name, so this is the query I have executed, and this is the output. Let's try to understand this. So within count, if we are mentioning the column name, so what happens? The count will reject any null value. Now, if you could see in this department table, and just a minute, in this department table and the department name column. So here we are telling SQL engine to count the records, the data which is present in the department name column. It means in this column, we have to find the total number of records. But within count, if you're using any column, so how it treats, it will reject any null value. So that is why it is rejecting this and it is counting 1, 2, and 3. And that's why this 3 is the output. So this is very important concept. Within count, if you have a column, it will not consider the null values which is present in that column, and that's where the output is 3. Although you might be thinking that it has 4 records in this table, but the output is 3. The reason is we are using column name here, and within that column, if you have any null, the engine rejects it. It doesn't consider it. Now in the same query, if I will use count of department ID, let's try to understand this one. Now for this query, let me execute this. Now you see, this is giving the output 4. So what is the meaning of this query? In this query, we are telling SQL engine to count the number of values or to count the data which is present in the department ID column. So within count, what I have written here, this is the department ID. So what SQL engine will do in this table, in this department ID column, this first column, okay, it will consider this one. And within this, it will count how many values are there. So total, it has 4 values. That's why the output is 4. Now here there is no null record. So that's why it will not reject anything. Okay, so this is very common interview questions asked. Okay, so that's why see the same table. If I'm applying count on department name, the output is 3. If I'm applying count on the department ID, output is 4. It is because the treatment with null is different. Okay. Now, now if the question is, suppose if I'm telling that we have 3 departments here. So if you see here, what engine is doing, engine is considering tech, HR, and this tech. Okay. But sometime the requirement is to find the unique values. I don't want the repeated values. I want the unique values only. In that case, what we have to do, we have to write count of distinct. Like suppose in the case of department ID, if I write count of distinct department ID from department table, so what is the meaning of this query? So from this query, we are telling to the SQL engine that we want how many unique department IDs are there. So distinct department ID means how many unique department IDs are there. Now, if you'll focus on this department table, so we could see here. So here in this department table, we have 1, 2, 3, and this one is again getting repeated, right? So in this case, this will not be considered. So how many unique department IDs are there? 1, 2, and 3. So that's why when I will execute this query, let me execute this. Output is 3. So within count, if you are using distinct keyword, so it will give you the unique values. If there is any duplicate value which is getting repeated, that will not be considered. So it is giving me 3 output because in this department ID, we have 3 unique values. So hope you have understood what is, if you have any column within count, how the engine treats it. If you have distinct column within count, then how the engine treats it. So mostly when I take interview, the candidates, they get confused here. Now, so I have used distinct with the department ID. Now, suppose if I want to use distinct with the department name column. Now let's check this one. For this query, let me execute this. Okay, now the output is 2. So this is a really interesting scenario. Why the output is 2 here, right? Okay, let's try to analyze this. Just a minute. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, so here you could see the output is 2. Let's try to analyze. We are telling here we want to find the count of distinct department name. So here what SQL engine will do in this department table, engine will consider this department name column. Okay. Now within this column, you are telling that you want distinct department name. So if you will check here, what are the distinct department name? So these all are the distinct, right? Because this tech is getting repeated, so this one will be rejected. This will not be considered. So you'll get only this tech, HR, and null, right? So we have this 3. So if we have 3 distinct department, then why engine has given here 2? The reason is within a count you have used distinct, that is fine. But apart from distinct, you have mentioned the column as well. And if you remember, we have discussed here that count of a column, it rejects, it ignores the null value if it is present in that column. Now here count of distinct department name. In this department name column, you have this null here, this one. So that's why engine will reject it and it is considering only these 2 values. And that's where the output is 2. Now the question here is, sometime when you're working in projects, so your client will tell you that, no, I want to consider null as well. Maybe in their business use case, they want to consider null. They don't want to ignore it. Okay. And many of the data analysts and data engineers, they do mistake here. They always treat null as a junk value. No, you should have a clear discussion with the your stakeholders that how you want us to treat null. Okay, if they will tell that yes, reject the null records if you're getting them, it is fine. Okay, but you should have a clear discussion because in many businesses your stakeholders will tell that no, don't reject the null because maybe the nulls, they must be having some business transaction hidden in that, and down the line they will get the value for it, so that's why they will tell not to reject them. So similarly, in this case, suppose a client is telling that no, please don't reject null, I want this null as well. So it means your client is telling this tech, HR, and null. So now they have 3 unique departments. And that is what I have mentioned here. The number of departments should be 3, it should be displayed as 3. But in our query, whatever we have written, it is getting displayed 2 only because this tech is getting rejected and this null is getting rejected. So now we will think that how means in this query, what modification we should do so that the engine should consider this null as well. So let's try to solve it. Now in this query, what I will do, I will use the NVL function. Hope most of you know the NVL function. Let me explain that quickly. Department ID, department name, NVL. We'll write here department name, comma, NA from department. Now see, I'm executing this query. Now here in the output, you could see this is NA. So the meaning of this NVL department name, comma, NA is we are telling SQL engine that in the department name column, if you have any null, so please replace it and display with NA. So that is why you could see in this new temporary column, and this is a temporary column. Please don't think that this will be permanently appended in the department table. No, this is just for the display purpose. If I will show you this department table after this query, let me show you this. So you could see that in this department table, still you have department ID and department name. So if I am deriving this column, so please don't think that this will be permanently appended in the table. No. Now, what is the meaning of this? So meaning of this is we are telling SQL engine that in the department name, if there is any null, replace that with NA. So you could see here this one. So this department name was null. It is replaced with NA. Now, how this will help us? Now, on top of it, on top of this column, we will tell SQL engine to find the distinct value. Then this null will be treated as NA and the engine will consider it. Hope you got it. So let me show you that. Now see, I will use count of distinct here. I will keep this in bracket. So, and let me remove these columns. Okay. So now we are telling SQL engine to find the distinct value for this particular derivation. Okay. For this particular derivation, we are telling to use the distinct value. Let me remove this bracket. So now let me execute this. Now see, output is 3. So what has happened? Now the SQL engine has considered that null as an NA, and you don't have any more null, and it is considering that as an NA. So that is counted here, and that's why now the output is 3. Now, if you want to display this in this manner, like number of departments, you can use alias here as number of departments. So let me run this query now. So this is the query. So the intention of this query is we want to check that the candidate, first of all, they know or not that how this distinct behaves with a column. Then the second thing, how NVL works. And then the combination of count, distinct, and NVL in the same query. So hope you would have understood it. So thank you.